I have never before seen a police officer almost break down in the witness box, so affected was he by the sight. You removed her from there and took her to a secluded spot where you violated and murdered her in the most brutal fashion.
This story may break your heart. Imagine being a grandfather, waking up on a peaceful summer morning only to discover that your 6-year-old granddaughter has vanished from her bed. What followed wasn't just a tragedy, it was a crime so horrifying it sent shivers down the spine of an entire nation. During the trial, the perpetrator, a 16-year-old boy, coldly confessed, "I enjoyed the murder. I had to make a real effort not to laugh during the court proceedings." Today, I'm going to tell you about a brutal case that took place in Rothesay, a small town on the Isle of Bute, Scotland. It was there, on a summer night in 2018, that the life of Alesha MacPhail, a bright and radiant little girl, was stolen away. This story contains heartbreaking details of violence and child abuse. If you find such content distressing, please consider watching a different video. But if you choose to stay, join me as we uncover the truth behind this tragedy, to honor Alesha, and to make sure her story is never forgotten. It all begins with a little girl whose smile lit up every room, Alesha MacPhail, who brought joy to everyone she met. Alesha MacPhail, full name Alesha Sarah MacPhail, was born on October 22, 2011, in Airdrie, a small town near Glasgow, Scotland. She was only 6 years old when her life was cruelly taken away. Alesha was a little girl with light brown hair, sparkling eyes that seemed to speak without words, and a radiant smile that melted the hearts of everyone she met. Her teacher, Ms. Wendy Davey, once described her as a bright student who loved to read and was always meticulous with her handwriting. Alesha had a gentle sensitivity, always eager to join in with her peers, and she was adored by her classmates for her cheerful and kind-hearted personality. She loved the simple joys of childhood. Alesha adored watching Peppa Pig, often curling up in a blanket and giggling at the screen. Her visits to Arran Bay and Rothesay, where she frequently stayed with her father and grandparents, were among her happiest moments. She loved running across the sand, chasing balloons, and squealing with delight as the waves splashed at her feet. One memory her grandfather, Callum, would never forget was a day they spent together on July 1st, 2018. After returning from a birthday party, Alesha playfully bopped him on the head with a balloon. She burst into laughter as the balloon slipped from her hands and drifted along the shoreline. "Grandpa, it's flying away!" she cried out, and they both laughed together, never knowing it would be the last memory they'd ever share. Alesha also had big dreams. She loved making pretend YouTube videos, often holding a phone and babbling about her favorite things, like pasta or picture books. "Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about pasta," she once said in a homemade video, her speech still adorably unclear, but her excitement unmistakable. She dreamed of becoming a YouTube star, just like her idols. Every time she visited Rothesay, Alesha brought a burst of energy, filling her grandparents' small apartment with laughter and life. She was the light of the family, the pride and joy of her mother, Georgina, and father Robert, even though the two had separated when Alesha was still little. Life wasn't perfect, but Alesha was deeply loved and cared for. But that beautiful light was extinguished on a fateful summer night, in the very home where she felt the safest. Alesha MacPhail grew up in a broken home, but one filled with love for her. Her mother, Georgina Lochrain, and father, Robert MacPhail, had separated just 3 months after Alesha was born. Despite their split, the two maintained a peaceful co-parenting relationship, ensuring that Alesha could remain close to both of them. Georgina lived in Airdrie, where she cared for Alesha with devotion, making sure she went to school regularly and encouraging her passion for making YouTube videos. At home, Georgina often saw her daughter chattering in front of the camera, her eyes lighting up as she talked about the little things she loved. Life as a single mother wasn't easy, but Georgina did everything she could to give Alesha a happy and full childhood. Meanwhile, Robert had moved to Rothesay on the Isle of Bute, where he lived with his parents, Callum and Angela MacPhail, in a modest 3-bedroom apartment. Every other weekend, Alesha would visit her father and grandparents, staying in her own cozy little corner of their home. These visits were filled with laughter, beach outings, park strolls, and afternoons of swimming. Though Robert wasn't with Alesha every day, he loved his daughter deeply. They often watched YouTube together, laughing as Alesha mimicked her favorite vloggers. Robert's girlfriend, Toni McLaughlin, also lived in the apartment and was frequently around Alesha. By all accounts, their relationship was friendly and without conflict, at least on the surface. But beneath that surface were troubling details that, in hindsight, raised disturbing questions. Robert and Toni were involved in low-level cannabis dealing in the area. Nothing large-scale, but enough to sustain Robert's drug habits. What no one in the family realized was that this seemingly minor involvement would unknowingly place Alesha in the path of something far more dangerous. Aaron Campbell, a 16-year-old boy living on the island, had previously bought cannabis from Robert. Their relationship wasn't close. In fact, it had become tense after Aaron complained about the quality of the drugs and refused to pay a $10 debt. There was no clear evidence of any deep-seated animosity, but the brief overlap between Aaron and Alesha's family laid a dark foundation for what was to come. No one suspected that this seemingly ordinary teenager was harboring twisted fantasies. Aaron had reportedly told his girlfriend that he wanted to kill someone for the thrill. These signs, disturbing, haunting in retrospect, were ignored. As summer 2018 began, Alesha happily looked forward to her vacation. But an unsettling feeling had already started to creep in. No one could have known that her trip to Rothesay would be her last. On July 1st, 2018, the day began as a joyful summer day for Alesha MacPhail. The 6-year-old had just returned to Rothesay, Isle of Bute, after attending a birthday party in Airdrie with her grandfather, Callum. On the way back, Alesha playfully tapped her grandfather's head with a balloon, giggling when it floated away. That evening, the family gathered in their 3-bedroom apartment. After dinner, Alesha was tucked into bed, watching her favorite cartoon, Peppa Pig. Around 10:30 p.m., she ran to her grandparents' room, gave them a big hug, kissed them, and said, "Good night, Gran and Granddad," before returning to bed. By 11 p.m., Callum checked on her and saw she was fast asleep. No one could have imagined it would be the last time they saw her alive. Meanwhile, not far away, Aaron Campbell, a 16-year-old teenager, was at his home after a party with friends. Aaron had consumed a large amount of alcohol, including a bottle of Mad Dog liquor and sharing a bottle of Echo Falls with a friend. His mood soured after an argument with his mother, Jeanette. By midnight, as his friends left, one returned to retrieve a bag and found Aaron in a depressed state, even expressing thoughts of self-harm. After being comforted, Aaron said, "I'm going to get some weed and sleep, thanks mate." But instead of going to bed, Aaron hatched a dangerous plan. Around 1:54 a.m. on July 2nd, CCTV captured Aaron leaving his house, carrying a kitchen knife. His initial intent was to break into Robert MacPhail's home to steal cannabis, something he had done before. Robert's door was unlocked, and Aaron entered easily. While rummaging around, he noticed Alesha sleeping soundly in a room near the entrance. Instead of leaving, dark thoughts Aaron had harbored since 2017 resurfaced. He later admitted, "When I saw her, I just thought about killing." Aaron carefully lifted Alesha from her bed. She woke up in the cold night air, groggily asking, "Who are you? Where are we going?" Aaron replied, "I'm a friend of your dad's. I'm taking you home." To calm her, he draped his jacket over her. For the next 30 minutes, Aaron carried her along the coastline, discarding the knife in the water along the way. They reached a secluded area near the abandoned Kyles of Butte Hydropathic Hotel. There, Aaron committed a horrific crime. He raped and strangled Alesha to death. Her body bore 117 injuries, ranging from scratches to severe wounds. Afterward, Aaron left Alesha's body in the woods, returned home, threw his blood-stained clothes into the sea, showered, and went back to the scene to retrieve a forgotten phone. What happened next when Alesha's family discovered the horrifying truth? On the morning of July 6, 2018, around 6 a.m., Callum MacPhail, Alesha's grandfather, woke up to go to work. As usual, he checked on his granddaughter's room, but Alesha was not there. Her bicycle was still in the yard, ruling out the possibility that she had left on her own. Panicked, Callum woke the rest of the household, including Alesha's father, Robert, his girlfriend, Toni McLaughlin, and Angela, Alesha's grandmother. The family searched the apartment frantically, but found no trace of Alesha. At 6:23 a.m., they called the police. Angela posted on Facebook, urging the Rothesay community to help find her granddaughter. Tragically, this post was how Alesha's mother, Georgina, learned her daughter was missing, as no one had been able to inform her directly. Police Scotland launched an immediate response. mobilizing extensive resources. Dozens of local residents, along with the Coast Guard and a helicopter, joined the search. Around 6:55 a.m., a first clue emerged. The knife Aaron Campbell had discarded on the beach was found. By 9 a.m., a passerby discovered Alesha's body in the woods near the abandoned Kyles of Butte Hydropathic Hotel. The horrific scene nearly brought a police officer to tears at the sight. Alesha's family was informed shortly after, and overwhelming grief consumed them. The police launched a large-scale investigation, sealing off multiple areas on the Isle of Butte and conducting house-to-house searches. A breakthrough came from Jeanette Campbell, Aaron's mother. Concerned about her son's unusual behavior, she checked their home's CCTV footage and saw Aaron leaving at 1:54 a.m., returning at 3:35 a.m., then going out again in different clothes, carrying what appeared to be a flashlight. Jeanette confronted Aaron, but he denied any involvement. Believing him innocent, she handed the footage to the police to clear his name. Instead, the video became critical evidence. On July 4th, Aaron was called in as a suspect. Initially, he answered questions calmly, but when police presented the CCTV evidence, DNA found on Alesha's body, and phone data, his demeanor shifted. Aaron had searched how to collect DNA evidence on his phone and posted a Snapchat selfie captioned, "Criminal." Under pressure, he offered a cruel defense. He blamed Toni McLaughlin, Robert's girlfriend. At trial, Aaron claimed he had been with Toni that night, and she had killed Alesha, planting his DNA on the body using a condom. This claim was entirely debunked, as Toni was proven innocent. The trial took place in February 2019. After 3 hours of deliberation, on February 21st, the jury found Aaron Campbell guilty of abduction, rape, and murder. Before sentencing, Aaron admitted to psychologist Dr. Gary McPherson that he was satisfied with the crime and had to restrain himself from laughing during the trial. On March 21, 2019, Aaron was sentenced to life imprisonment, with a minimum term of 27 years, later reduced to 24 years due to his age. The judge described him as cold, ruthless, and without remorse. The public did not remain silent in the face of this horrific crime. The Alesha MacPhail case was not only a personal tragedy for her family, but also a profound shock that shook the Rothesay community and all of Scotland. The small, peaceful town on the Isle of Butte was plunged into horror and disbelief. Hundreds of locals who had joined the initial search for Alesha organized prayer vigils and candlelit memorials in her honor. Over 600 people, many wearing pink at the family's request, attended her funeral in Coatbridge to bid her farewell. Flowers, teddy bears, and balloons were placed across Rothesay, serving as a poignant reminder of the light Alesha brought to the world. Scottish and international media covered the case extensively, sparking widespread outrage. Headlines branded Aaron Campbell a teenage monster, and the public expressed shock that a 16-year-old could commit such a heinous crime. On social media, thousands of posts with the hashtag #JusticeForAlesha demanded justice for the young girl. However, the intense media scrutiny also placed immense pressure on Alesha's family. Her mother, Georgina, shared that she learned of her daughter's disappearance through a Facebook post and later faced harsh comments from some criticizing the family. Despite this, the Airdrie and Rothesay communities rallied to support Georgina, organizing fundraising events to help the family cope with their loss. Police Scotland faced significant pressure as well. They were praised for their swift investigation, but some criticized the legal system for not being harsh enough on Aaron. The reduction of his sentence from 27 to 24 years sparked disappointment, leading to small protests in Glasgow calling for reforms to laws regarding juvenile offenders. Organizations like NSPCC Scotland urged stronger monitoring of young people showing signs of deviant behavior, highlighting that Aaron's earlier statements about wanting to kill had been overlooked. Though devastated, Alesha's family spoke out to honor her memory. Georgina wrote on social media, "You were everything I ever dreamed of. I can't believe you're gone forever." Her grandfather Callum shared that each day brought an overwhelming emptiness without Alesha's laughter. These words spurred community action, including the creation of a charity in Alesha's name to support abused children. The case also prompted discussions in the Scottish Parliament about child safety. Though no specific legal changes have been recorded, But Alesha's story does not end with pain and outrage. Alesha MacPhail was only 6 years old when she was taken, never getting the chance to share all her dreams or grow up to become the YouTube star she aspired to be. Her radiant smile, her infectious laughter on Rothesay's beaches, and the warm hug she gave her grandparents are now just memories. Alesha's story is not only a tragedy, but a painful wake-up call. What would you do if you saw a child neglected, threatened, or noticed troubling signs from those around you? Would you stay silent or speak up? Alesha's case reminds us that evil can strike without warning, sometimes from the most unsuspecting sources. Aaron Campbell, a seemingly ordinary 16-year-old, took Alesha's life in a moment of twisted thinking. His earlier comments about wanting to kill were dismissed, but if someone had acted, Alesha might still be here. This story urges us to be more vigilant, to protect the children around us, and to never ignore even the smallest signs of danger. Share Alesha's story, not to amplify the pain, but to keep her light shining. Tell your loved ones you care, and take action to ensure no child suffers Alesha's fate. Honoring Alesha means more than remembering her. It's a commitment to building a safer world for future generations. Thank you for listening to her story. Let's speak up together so that Alesha and victims like her are never forgotten.